Good morning, friends. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been with me before, thank you for coming back to this space where we talk about growth, fear, and the messy, beautiful work of becoming who we're meant to be. Today, I want to share something personal, something that's taken me years to understand, but feels like it was always true. Fear isn't your enemy. It never has been. And if you've ever felt paralyzed by what-ifs, held back by doubt, or convinced that safety is the only path forward, this story might just change everything for you. Let me take you back. Back to when I was 23 years old. I had just quit my job in finance, a stable, well-paying career with a clear trajectory. No one would have called it brave at the time. In fact, most people called it reckless. My parents were furious. Friends asked if I'd lost my mind. But here's what they didn't see. I was terrified. Every single day for months afterward, I woke up with my heart pounding. What if I couldn't pay rent? What if I failed at everything? What if I made the worst decision of my life and there was no going back? I carried that fear like a backpack filled with stones. And every time I wanted to move forward, every time I had an idea or a dream or even just a desire for something different, fear would whisper, "Not today. Not yet. Stay safe." And you know what? For the first year after quitting, I stayed safe. I took on freelance work that paid less than my old salary. I avoided risks. I played it small, because playing it small felt like control. Then came the winter of my 24th year. A project I'd taken on, a creative collaboration with a local artist, was supposed to launch in January. But right before the deadline, something went wrong. Not catastrophically wrong, just wrong. The materials arrived late. My partner got sick. And suddenly, everything was at risk of falling apart. That's when fear showed me its true face. It didn't whisper anymore. It screamed, "You can't do this. You're not capable. Look what happens when you try to change things." I remember sitting in my kitchen that night, staring at the project files on my laptop screen. The glow of the monitor was the only light in the room. And I felt something shift inside me. Not a realization, but an awakening. Because here's the truth. Fear had been protecting me all along. Kept me from making mistakes. Kept me from failing publicly. It kept me from ever having to face what it would feel like to truly be seen as someone who could mess up and still survive. But protection isn't growth. And I was tired of being protected. So I made a choice. Not a grand, cinematic moment with dramatic music swelling in the background. Just a quiet decision to stop letting fear run my life. I realized something fundamental. Fear is information, not instruction. It's telling me what matters to me. The fact that I was afraid of failure meant I cared deeply about doing good work. The fact that I was afraid of uncertainty meant I valued stability and security. Things I'd been denying myself for years. Fear isn't trying to stop you from living. It's trying to keep you safe while you're already alive. And the irony? You can't be truly safe when you're not actually living. So I decided to use fear as fuel instead of brakes. Not by ignoring it, but by acknowledging it and then moving forward anyway. Every time that old voice whispered, "Not today," I'd say back, "Thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm going ahead regardless." That winter project launched in January. It wasn't perfect. In fact, it was messy and chaotic and had more problems than solutions. But it worked. And something shifted inside me that no amount of safety could have ever produced. Over the next few years, I noticed a pattern. Every time I stepped into discomfort, whether it was asking for something I wanted, speaking up when I felt uncertain, or pursuing an opportunity that scared me, I'd feel fear rise up. And instead of retreating, I started to lean in. I learned that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it. It's recognizing that fear is a companion on the journey, not a reason to turn back. Here are some things I've discovered along the way. First, fear often shows up right before growth. If you're feeling afraid about something, ask yourself, is this fear protecting me from real danger? Or is it keeping me from something important? Second, fear shrinks when you move toward it. The more you avoid what scares you, the bigger it gets. The more you face it head-on, the smaller it becomes. It's like a muscle that weakens with use. Third, your fears are often pointing to where you want to go. If you're afraid of public speaking, maybe you have something important to say. If you're afraid of starting over, maybe you've outgrown what you're currently doing. Fear is the compass of your soul. Let me share with you some practical ways I've learned to work with fear instead of against it. The first technique is called fear naming. When you feel that familiar tightness in your chest, the racing thoughts, the urge to retreat, pause and name what you're feeling. Say out loud, "I'm afraid right now," and that's okay. Just acknowledging it without judgment takes away some of its power. The second technique is the 5-minute rule. When fear tells you not to do something, commit to doing just 5 minutes of it. 5 minutes of the scary conversation. 5 minutes of writing the email. 5 minutes of stepping into the uncomfortable situation. Usually, once you've started, momentum takes over and the fear recedes. The third technique is reframing. Instead of thinking, "I'm afraid because this might go wrong," try thinking, "I'm excited because this matters to me." Fear and excitement are physiologically similar. Both involve adrenaline, increased heart rate, heightened awareness. The only difference is your interpretation, and you get to choose that interpretation. I want to leave you with this invitation today. What's one thing you've been avoiding because of fear? Not a life-changing decision, just something small. An email you need to send. A conversation you're dreading. A creative project you haven't started. Something that feels just out of reach but also just within grasp. I'm not asking you to do it today. I'm asking you to acknowledge it. To recognize that fear is there, and then to decide whether you want to let it be your guide or your gatekeeper. Because here's what I've learned. The things we're most afraid of are often the very things that will bring us the most growth, the most fulfillment, the deepest sense of peace. Not because they'll make everything perfect, but because they'll remind us that we're capable of more than we think. Fear doesn't have to be your brake pedal anymore. It can be your fuel. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What's one fear you're choosing to work with instead of avoid? Let's support each other on this journey. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future conversations about growth, courage, and finding your way forward when things feel uncertain. Remember, you are not defined by your fears. You're defined by what you do with them. And I truly believe, that whatever you need to become is already within reach, waiting for you to take the first step. Until next time, keep moving forward. Keep being brave. And remember that fear doesn't have to be your brake anymore. It can be your fuel. Thank you for watching.